What happens when those who defy the divine dare to harm the chosen, ignoring every warning? How did your unbreakable spirit become a testament of resilience, forcing those who sought your downfall to face divine wrath? In the silent corridors of life, betrayal took root, unseen, yet felt like a jagged thorn lodged deep within your soul. This was no mere mishap, no innocent misunderstanding brushed aside with time. Those who betrayed you crafted their deception with precise intent, each move calculated to strike at your very essence. They crossed lines that even shadows dare not approach, disregarding every moral boundary, their eyes gleaming with satisfaction as they laid their traps. Their actions weren't born of ignorance or mistake. They knew exactly the depth of their cruelty, each word and act a blade designed to cut into your most sacred spaces. They thrived in the dark, seething with venom, lured by the power they believed they would wield over you. They watched as the effects of their deeds took hold, feeding off your pain, mistaking it for weakness. What they failed to recognize was the storm brewing within you, the silent forces that pulse through your veins, woven with a strength they will never comprehend. You are marked, set apart, chosen not for a life of ease, but for a path laden with trials that test the marrow of your bones. Your heart, though bruised, is unyielding, and they will learn that no amount of malice can shatter the spirit that has been forged in fire. Your journey as a chosen one is unlike any other, bearing the weight of a purpose far beyond the ordinary. Those who would harm you see only what they wish to see, a convenient target for their own inadequacies, a vessel upon which to unleash their hidden fears. But you are not like them. Your spirit is attuned to a higher calling, a force that transcends the petty illusions of those who seek to drag you down. This purpose, this divine spark within you, is a beacon that attracts not just light, but shadows that envy your glow. They see your path and seek to obstruct it, for it reveals the barren nature of their own wandering. You have been tested not by choice, but by design. You were never meant to tread an easy path. The weight of your trials would crumble lesser beings, but you bear them with a quiet resilience that baffles those who watch from the periphery. You were forged in the crucible of endurance, each scar a testament to your refusal to bow. You embody a strength that resonates beyond flesh and bone, a force that vibrates through the very fabric of existence, marking you as one who cannot be undone. Those who sought to derail your journey will find themselves contending with forces they cannot understand. They have mistaken your kindness for fragility, your silence for submission. They will learn in the cold clarity of their own reckoning that to attack you is to defy the very forces that hold this world together. You are not merely a survivor. You are the embodiment of resilience, the soul that endures beyond all reason, untouched and indestructible. We interrupt this message with something urgent. What they did to you was unforgivable, and the consequences are already unfolding. If you're tired of watching the unworthy walk free while you carry the weight of their actions, then it's time to step into the Obsidian inner order. In this exclusive community, we prepare you to harness the power that comes from divine justice, the kind of power that takes their attacks and turns them into the energy for your greatest manifestations. You've been tested, but the truth is, you're more powerful than they can ever understand. In the Obsidian inner order, you'll gain access to tools that can't be found anywhere else. Uncensored videos, exclusive visuals, and the coveted grimoire for chosen ones, modern manifestation mechanics. This isn't the watered-down fluff you'll find on YouTube. This is deep, powerful content that only the most dedicated chosen ones can handle. If you're serious about transforming the trials you faced into unstoppable momentum, then this is where you need to be. But let me make this clear. There are only a few slots left in the Star Chamber. This isn't for the weak-hearted. This is for those ready to inherit the universe and leave behind everything that tried to break them. Click the link in the description to join us in the inner order. It's time to claim what's rightfully yours. You know what they did. The lines they crossed were not merely lines. They were sacred boundaries, etched with the intention to protect you, the chosen, a soul marked by divine purpose. But they, with malicious hearts, trespassed, not just against you but against the sacred order itself. This wasn't just an attack on you. It was an affront to the divine essence that set you apart. Forgiveness, though praised as a virtue, holds no space for the kind of cruelty they wielded. Some acts demand more than forgiveness. They call for justice, the sort that reverberates through existence, unyielding and final. And to make it worse, they had the audacity to cloak themselves in the guise of victimhood, turning the dagger back towards you, as if to place blame in your hands. It is an act of cowardice beyond words, a shameless display of deceit that seeks to distort reality, to warp the truth of what they inflicted upon you. Playing the victim is not just another transgression, it is an insult, a perversion of the suffering they caused, and that is unforgivable. You see through their facade, their thin veneer of innocence that only highlights their contempt for the truth. The wounds they left on you are not the kind that heal with time. Their actions were like storms, relentless and brutal, tearing through the fortress of your soul with calculated precision. Each betrayal they committed was a chisel, chipping away at the foundation of trust you held dear, leaving scars that run deep and ache with the memory of their treachery. They inflicted harm not merely to hurt, but to scar, to imprint themselves upon you in a way that would endure long after their physical presence was gone. And these scars, they think, are forgotten, buried in the past, yet they remain vivid, etched into the very fabric of your being. But know this, there is a divine witness to every moment of your suffering, an account that exists beyond time, holding a record of each act, each wound they imposed upon you. God remembers what they would prefer forgotten. Every instance of pain they caused, every bit of suffering they inflicted is known and remembered, as clear as the day they first drew breath. They would have you believe these acts were fleeting, momentary. Yet in truth, their cruelty echoes beyond the confines of time, reverberating through realms they cannot perceive. Their actions, in all their viciousness, were an assault against the purity of your spirit, yet they underestimated the resilience that flows within you. They failed to see that while they sought to weaken you, they were only making you stronger, forging within you a resolve that grows fiercer with each passing day. They cannot undo the strength that rises from these ashes, a strength that they unknowingly helped to forge. And while they may have hoped to break you, to cast you aside, they have only solidified your place among the divine chosen, for even the depths of their cruelty could not quench the light that burns within you. You are not abandoned. From the beginning, their schemes were laid bare before divine eyes, seeing every intention, every dark thought that they harbored against you. They thought they operated in shadows, but those shadows have always been illuminated by a higher awareness. God has seen every act before it unfolded, understanding their motives even when you could not yet grasp the extent of their treachery. And still, in His mercy, He sent warnings, subtle at first, then louder, unmistakable signals that pulsed through their lives like a beating drum. But their arrogance blinded them, leading them to brush off these warnings as nothing more than inconvenient ripples in their otherwise self-assured existence. They thought they could disregard these signs without consequence, as if they could sidestep the divine and continue their path unchecked. But there is no escaping God's gaze. The divine watches, waiting, with a patience that no mortal could comprehend. Every time they ignored those warnings, they etched their defiance deeper into the fabric of fate, pulling themselves closer to the inevitable reckoning that awaits all who dare to stand against the chosen. They believed themselves immune, untouchable, as if their schemes were too insignificant to warrant cosmic attention. They could not have been more mistaken. Now, their defiance has drawn them into the very heart of divine consequence. There is no turning back from the path they've carved for themselves. They laughed at the thought of repercussions, deeming themselves safe from divine wrath. But their insolence has put them directly in God's path, where justice moves with an unstoppable force. They are not just facing the consequences of human misdeeds, they are staring into the vast and unrelenting face of divine retribution, which sees all and spares none. They chose to believe that divine warnings were mere whispers lost in the wind, irrelevant to their own actions. But those warnings were not empty, and their ignorance has cost them dearly. They have set themselves against an unyielding power, a force that knows no equal, and now they must contend with the severity of their choices. They tread upon the sacred, thinking themselves above consequence, but the truth is now laid bare. They have summoned an unstoppable justice. The consequences are not simply about punishment. They are a recalibration, a rebalancing of what was thrown out of alignment by their actions. They now find themselves at the mercy of a power that does not waver, a force that sees through their hollow justifications and understands the depth of their contempt. As they face what lies ahead, they may realize too late that to ignore the divine is to stand alone against a storm that cares not for their pride. They are bound to a path they chose, a path that leads them to confront the reality that there is no evasion, no excuse that can shield them. God's justice does not falter. It moves like a relentless tide, unyielding, unstoppable, bringing with it a reckoning that restores balance. And as this force meets their defiance, they will understand that the weight of their choices has only one resolution: a confrontation with the divine, which remembers all and forgives only those who heed its sacred warnings. You have been wronged, and there is no doubt that divine justice now stirs, moving with a force as certain as it is unstoppable. When God's chosen ones are betrayed, his response is swift and unyielding, an inevitable storm of retribution that breaks forth from the very essence of his love. For while his love knows no bounds, so too does his justice surge with equal ferocity, a consuming fire reserved for those who dare harm his own. This is not a gentle correction, not a whisper of reprisal, but a cosmic reckoning that pours forth from the heavens with the force of 1,000 storms, directed at those who thought themselves untouchable. There is a precision to this justice, a meticulousness that will leave no stone unturned and no sin unexposed. Their hearts, once filled with pride, will shatter under the weight of their own actions, as each piece of their treachery is repaid in full measure. God's justice is not bound by human constraints, and as they stand now in the path of this tidal wave, they have nowhere to run, no shelter from the fury that has been set upon them. Their laughter, their arrogance, all will be silenced under the heavy hand of divine recompense, which moves with a purpose they will not comprehend until it is far too late. Every ounce of suffering they inflicted upon you will now rebound upon them, magnified beyond their capacity to withstand. This is not a mere reversal of fortunes, but a complete upheaval of all they once held dear. They sowed seeds of anguish, and now they will reap a harvest of despair, a harvest that grows with a dark abundance choking out the dreams they once nurtured. They will feel the weight of each act, as the suffering they thought they inflicted without consequence returns to them, multiplied beyond their imagining. There is no escape from this. They are bound to a fate they crafted with their own hands. The ambitions they clung to, the dreams they cherished, will crumble before their eyes like castles built on sand, swept away by the relentless tide of divine justice. They will watch as the comforts they surrounded themselves with, the shields they believed would protect them, dissolve like smoke, leaving them bare, exposed, and utterly alone. The collapse of all they once valued will be as sudden as it is devastating, and they will have no choice but to confront the truth of their actions as the ground beneath them gives way. This is the path they chose, and now they must walk it to the bitter end. The reckoning they face is not an abstraction, but a palpable force, one that will dismantle every illusion they held about their invincibility. They will learn that divine justice does not waver, that it moves with the weight of eternity behind it, stripping away every comfort until all that remains is the emptiness they tried to fill with malice. Their suffering will be complete, their downfall absolute, as divine justice finishes its work, leaving them with nothing but the desolation they once sought to bestow upon you. You will begin to see it soon, the unmistakable signs of their downfall, as if the very fabric of their existence begins to fray before your eyes. Those who wronged you, who sowed seeds of cruelty and malice, will face trials of their own, inexplicable hardships that strike without warning, unraveling every illusion they wrapped themselves in. You are the witness to this slow disintegration, For divine justice moves silently at first, subtle in its approach but relentless in its effects. Watch closely, for in their eyes, you will see the dawning of a fear they cannot mask, a terror they never anticipated. Their steps will falter, and the structures they built around themselves, those false fortresses of pride and arrogance, will begin to erode piece by piece. Pay attention, for as they encounter these struggles, it will become clear that they are not random trials, but the unmistakable marks of divine justice carving a path through their lives. What once was certain will now be uncertain. What once was secure will now be fragile. They will search for explanations, yet find none, their confusion a reflection of the pain they inflicted upon you. This is not a mere disturbance, but a ripple effect that extends into every corner of their existence. The chaos will bleed into every part of their lives, reflecting the hurt they sowed, magnified and relentless. It begins with subtle cracks, relationships faltering, ambitions slipping from their grasp like sand through clenched fists. And then it grows, a tidal wave of consequence sweeping through their reality, dismantling everything they once held dear. The comfort they once found in their possessions, their positions, their pleasures. Each will crumble, one by one, until nothing remains but the barren echoes of what they once considered permanent. What they thought was invincible will prove fragile. What they deemed unshakable will be torn asunder. They will feel the impact in their heart, in their mind, in the very breath they draw, as divine justice strips away the illusions they clung to. Their days will become haunted by loss, their nights by regret, the consequences of their deeds stretching into every aspect of their existence, a relentless reflection of the wounds they once inflicted on you. There is no corner of their life untouched, no refuge from the force that now bears down upon them. The relationships they built on deceit will wither, the ambitions born of arrogance will rot, and the comforts they believed would always be theirs will evaporate, like a mist burned away by the sun. The upheaval is total, the desolation absolute, as they are left to face the full weight of divine retribution. In the end, they are stripped bare, left to confront the emptiness within and the relentless justice that they themselves have summoned. They will come to understand that nothing escapes the sight of the divine, and no harm inflicted on God's chosen goes unavenged. You must know this with certainty. You were never left unguarded, never abandoned to face their malice alone. Every moment they plotted, every snare they set, God's shield surrounded you, an impenetrable barrier between you and their wickedness. Their intentions, no matter how vile, were powerless against the protection encircling you. They aimed to wound, to tear you down, but they met only with the unyielding force of divine guardianship. God has watched over you, guiding your steps through shadows they cast, nullifying the darkness they tried to weave around you. The shield that surrounds you is not a mere defense. It is an impenetrable armor forged by divine will, reflecting back every harm they hoped would strike you down. Their schemes have crumbled in vain, for nothing they aimed at you could pierce this protection. The force they confronted was beyond their understanding, beyond their reach. They may have seen themselves as powerful, but in the face of divine safeguarding, their strength was but a feeble whisper, drowned in the roar of God's love for you. The shield they could not see, but felt in their failed attempts, was woven from the very essence of the divine, a testament to the purpose that keeps you moving forward. Now with justice delivered, you move forward unshackled, walking the path that was set for you from the beginning. The shadow of their interference has been lifted, scattered like ash, and you are free to pursue your calling with unyielding strength. They may have thought they could alter your path, but you have risen above their reach, fortified by divine intention, untouched by their hands. You are not only protected, but empowered, driven forward by a strength that is greater than any obstacle they could have conceived. The purpose you carry within you is not just yours alone. It is a reflection of divine intent, an echo of something far greater than this world's trials. Every step you take now is a stride into the light of that purpose, unburdened by fear, released from any lingering doubt. You are encased in a shield that not only defends but propels, a force that transforms every challenge into a stepping stone, every obstruction into fuel for the fire that burns within you. There is no need to look back, no cause to question whether you are safe. The answer is etched into your very being, woven into the core of your spirit. You are not merely walking, you are moving with the authority of one who is chosen, guided, and divinely protected. Step forward with boldness, knowing that no force can deter you from the path ahead. Your calling awaits, and you approach it now with a confidence rooted in the knowledge that you are untouchable, divinely shielded, and infinitely more powerful than any shadow that dares to cross your path. Witness this truth. To stand against God's chosen is to stand against an unstoppable force, one that does not bend or retreat. Those who dared to challenge you, who thought they could brush aside divine anointment, now face the inevitable consequences of their folly. Their downfall is not just a private ruin, it is a blazing testament to the power that shields the chosen. It is a warning that reverberates through all who stand on the sidelines, watching with bated breath. You do not violate the divine will and emerge unscathed. You do not strike at God's anointed and walk away whole. There is a price exacted, a retribution that speaks louder than any words could convey. They may have thought themselves untouchable, shielded by their own power or position, but they have learned the hard way that no earthly force can protect against the hand of divine justice. It is an ancient truth, woven into the very fabric of existence, that those who lift a hand against the chosen ones set themselves against a will beyond their comprehension. This ruin is a lesson, a blazing example of what comes to those who test the bounds of sacred protection. Let it serve as a reminder to every witness, a caution etched in the ashes of their ambitions. The fate of those who wronged you is irrevocably sealed, a path they chose the moment they set their sights on causing you harm. They believed they could act without consequence, but they have now encountered the immensity of divine wrath, an unstoppable force that mirrors the boundless mercy they disregarded. God's mercy is vast, but His justice is precise, leaving no transgression unanswered. They had their warnings, they ignored them, and now they face the inevitable reckoning of their own making. You, however, are destined for more. Stand tall and walk forward with unshakable assurance, knowing that you carry the mark of divine favor, an unbreakable strength that shields you and propels you forward. You are protected, you are chosen, and nothing can stand against you when you walk within this truth. Let their downfall be the last shadow cast on your path, a reminder that you are guided by a force greater than any opposition. If this message has stirred strength within you, share it with others who need the reminder. The path of the chosen is one of enduring resilience, of divine protection that withstands all trials. Your story is not one of defeat, but of unstoppable purpose. Speak it boldly, and encourage others to trust in the strength they possess. For the journey of the chosen is illuminated by the power of unwavering faith and divine justice.